It's news time. Information is power. Be current. The news headline. Opinion. Ipob supporters should renounce as Nnamdi Kanu denies being a member. The news in full. The proscribed leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, in a recent interview after dismissal from court, denied being a member of the Ipob group. According to the information gathered by Daily Post Nigeria, he disclosed this while speaking with journalists after yesterday's court proceedings at the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja. According to journalists, Nnamdi Kanu vehemently denied being a member of the Ipob, which brings about curiosity. Ever since his arrest, the supporters of Biafra movement, which they tagged Ipob, having been trying every possible means to get their proscribed leader, Nnamdi Kanu, out of prison. These Ipob supporters went to the extent of declaring sit at home on every Monday across the eastern region and also placed a ban to every institution singing the Nigerian national anthem amongst others. Ipob supporters have been doing a lot to separate from Nigeria, and from my observations, they have been following others. But whose others if Nnamdi Kanu denies being a member or leader? These Biafra agitators gave birth to the unknown gunmen, causing terror within the eastern region, and nobody knows the identities of these gunmen. Likewise, the identity of those giving orders, though the group might just be some group of people who are certain about what they are fighting for and also what they stand to gain if they win or lose. When people form a revolutionary group, they do so because they want to achieve something huge without seeking the approval of the government, but the case of Ipob is quite different. The writer says he thinks that becoming clear the Ipob group might be another illusion, although the Ipob members had said that they are standing their ground to ensure that the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra is actually released, because while he was extradited from Kenya, we understood that he has been subjected to a whole lot of mental traumas, which actually may be one of the things affecting his response to different cases. While making a case for the Biafra agitator, said that if the federal government could grant amnesty to repentant Boko Haram terrorists and the Niger Delta militants, there is nothing stopping it from considering the case of Nnamdi Kanu and also that of Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. Speaking on Thursday during an interview on Channels Television, Obiozo argued that the Igbo people are not at war with the rest of Nigerians, urging that President Muhammadu Buhari needs to reconsider his stand not to release the detained Ipob leader. He said that Nnamdi Kanu, who is currently facing charges bordering on treasonable felony and terrorism, deserves to be given another chance and forgiven, as force is a dangerous option for everyone at this particular period in time. And that is one of the reasons why the former national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, that is Comrade Adams Oshiomhole, had actually spoken to defend President Muhammadu Buhari in this case, saying that he is actually doing his very best, and that those people that are criticizing, most of his regime are people that have always found pleasure in being toxic about the federal government of Nigeria. Muhammadu Buhari was seen as the nemesis of corrupt politicians, and that image, which could not help him during previous electoral attempts, was capitalized on by the Southwest media to burnish and garnish a political reputation against an admittedly helplessly ghostless and hapless leadership of Goodluck Jonathan. But history is a mercilessly ruthless judge. While previously clueless and corrupt, Jonathan has become a beautiful bride of international diplomacy and democratic behavior. The anti-corruption warrior is now mired in a government that, by its own reckoning, has become the most inept and corrupt in our history. To be fair, the president did not promise much in the electioneering campaigns in both elections. Throughout the campaigns, his mantra, repeated like a broken record, was fighting corruption, insurgency, and improving the economy. His performance on all three counts is suspect, dubious, and undistinguished. Most people would even declare him a failure. By its own admission, even the government does not point to any of them as its main achievement, which is curious. To it, their greatest achievement is building infrastructure, which was a kind of an afterthought, as it never featured in its 2015 election campaigns. The curiosity is, how could one major in a subject on which he was not tested in an examination? On his greatest failure, agreement will be as difficult to reach, insecurity has become a major menace in the country, and no part of its nation is spared. But because that is not his greatest failure, nor is the crumbling economy, which he was never given a chance in the first place. It has never been this bad since the war, and although President Muhammadu Buhari was elected to deal with the problem of insurgency in the northeast, his regime was added the nefarious activities of herdsmen and now bandits, who have not only made life brutally short and unbearable for most rural communities, especially farmers who have abandoned their farms, which has led to the threat of food scarcity and hunger in the country. The Nigerians are paying such humongous price on account of corruption in the public service in the government that promised to stamp it out is a monumental indictment of President Muhammadu Buhari and his legitimacy for the office. The paradox is that for every extra kobo that goes into fictitious projects and salaries, there is a corresponding denial of public-oriented spending to improve people's lives. Also, such increase in recurrent spending is directly responsible for the unending borrowing by this government to fund its acclaimed infrastructure development in a situation that mortgages the future of the country and the next generation. Consequently, the reason we are borrowing is not entirely because there is no money, as government has consistently maintained, but because its employees are siphoning the money into their private pockets at the expense of the generality of Nigerians. The obvious implication of this development is that the current anti-corruption strategy is defective and inappropriate, thinking that the main culprits in corruption are the political office holders. This view featured heavily in Buhari's approach in dealing with members of the Second Republic political class. But it is simply untenable because the political class does not have accounting powers, which belongs to the career civil servants. So it is financially impossible for the politicians to steal money from government coffers without the active involvement and collusion of the bureaucrats themselves. Also, for a minister or commissioner to steal a dime, the bureaucrat must be involved. Entire budgets of the country through the manners of expenditure. They also prepare the budget. Therefore, we have to revise and change the approach and train searchlight more on the public servants to actually get to the root of the matter. And also, focusing on the few political office holders is a way